Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
We are in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
At the Brooklyn Navy Yard. We've just been for a long walk down Flushing Avenue and through a large Jewish community section, which is very interesting and intriguing to see how culturally they are maintaining themselves and keeping their community together. So many different things, interesting. But then we walk down and we're at Building 92, which is near the Brooklyn Navy Yard. We actually wanted to get down near to the water, but it's all private property and you can't get in there now, so like that. So we're going to do some reading. Just going to adjust the mic thing for a minute.
Alright, it's it's Canto 4, Chapter 11, Text 27.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Alright, text 11. The great sage Narada continued, My dear King Prachini Bahishat, like you, King Puranjan also became implicated in so many desires. Thus he worshipped demigods, forefathers and social leaders with various sacrifices, which were all very ghastly because they were inspired by the desire to kill animals. Purport. In this verse, the great sage Narada discloses that the character of Puranjan was being described to give lessons to King Prachini Bahishat. Actually, the entire description was figuratively describing the activities of King Prachini Bahishat. In this verse, Narada frankly says, like you, Yata Bhavan, which indicates that King Puranjan is none other than King Prachini Bahishat himself. Being a great Vaishnava, Narada Muni wanted to stop animal killing in sacrifices. He knew that if he tried to stop the king from performing sacrifices, the king would not hear him. Therefore, he is describing the life of Puranjan. But in this verse, he first discloses the intention, although not fully, by saying like you. Generally, the karmis who are attached to increasing descendants have to perform so many sacrifices and worship so many demigods for future generations, and satisfy so many leaders, politicians, philosophers, and scientists to make things go on properly for future generations. The so-called scientists are very eager to see that future generations will live very comfortably, and as such they are trying to find different means of generating energy to drive locomotives, cars, airplanes and so on. Now they are exhausting the petroleum supply. These activities are described in the Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 2, Text 41. Vaya vai sayamika buddhe Ekeha Kurunandana Bahu Shaka He Anantascha Buddhiya Avyavasayinam. Those who are on the spiritual path are resolute in purpose and their aim is one. O beloved child of the Kurus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many-branched. It's interesting at the time that Prabhupada was writing this, and he's saying they're exhausting the petroleum supplies, and now we have, what a lot of people are obviously protesting against, which is, the word is gone now.
Fossil fuels?
No, what they're doing.
Fracking.
Fracking, yes.
But that's for natural gas, that's not for petroleum.
Yes, but because we're just, like people use this word rape, you're raping the earth, you're trying to just get all the different fuels and whatever we can use out, sucking it out and drilling it, and really and it's Mother Earth, and really abusing that earth. And as Prabhupada is saying, creating the aeroplanes, creating the cars, which means we need to maintain them, fuel them. They're not going to go anywhere. All the different gadgets we have, all the different, which Prabhupada is saying, because the so-called scientists are doing it for the future generations. And I was thinking, I don't think so. I mean, maybe, but it's like, it's in a mentality of, I feel, not thinking of the future generation. Because as we hear in lectures, what happens when the earth decides to dry up? Or what happens when this runs out? This is when anarchy comes into place. Scarcity, and what are you going to do? And one nation on this and that can therefore have rule over this other one because they have access to it. So, are you thinking ahead when you create all these different things? Are you thinking what's going to happen when you have these cars that just, what is it? Teslas.
Lithium battery.
Yeah. What are you doing with all this stuff? So.
Yeah, actually the protesters against fossil fuel use are the ones who are saying you're not thinking of the future generation. But at the same time, I think Prabhupada is saying in the name of trying to create things better for the future, and
right.
that we're trying to improve and make it, better in the future, like that. Yeah, very interesting points. And how Narada Muni is speaking to King Prachini Barhishat about Paranjan as like an allegory, but it's very clearly and directly meant for him. But Narada Muni doesn't approach it in a way to like say, hey, Prachini Barhishat, you're like in Maya, you're causing so many problems, what are you doing, stop. Instead, he sits with him and tells him this whole allegorical story. It just always strikes me how the approach that the saintly person takes. Actually, those who are in knowledge of everything are determined to execute Krishna consciousness, but those who are rascals, mudha, sinners, duskritina, and the lowest of mankind, naradamaha, who are bereft of all intelligence, maya parita jnana, and who take shelter of the demoniac way of life, asuram bhavam ashritaha, are disinterested in Krishna consciousness. As such, they become implicated and take on so many activities. Most of these activities center around the killing of animals. Modern civilization is centered around animal killing. Karmis are advertising that without eating meat, their vitamin value or vitality will be reduced. So to keep oneself fit, to work hard, one must eat meat. And to digest meat, one must drink liquor. And to keep balance of drinking and wine and eating meat, one must have sufficient sexual intercourse. To keep fit, to work hard like an ass. Prabhupada is just relentless. Basically just saying that the world is advertising so many things falsely. Talk about false news, so fake news. So this was kind of going on way back in the day, and it's true. There was so much propaganda. It's like whoever's got the money controls what gets, printed and pushed out to the public, and saying that if you don't eat meat, you're not gonna, you're not gonna be a healthy person. And then people think, oh no, it's healthy to eat, and that is one of the arguments people will often give against quote unquote a vegetarian diet.
You don't have protein and
where are you going to get your protein? It's like maybe from dal, rice, maybe from so many places that have protein, tofu, but and you get more than you get out of meat. So that's there. But Prabhupada goes from the meat to the liquor to sex life, and he just covers 3 of the regulative principles right there. And then I was thinking, oh, is he going to get gambling in there? But then I was thinking, and all of this is simply gambling with your life, because it's quite a long purport. So.
Next paragraph. There are 2 ways of animal killing. One way is in the name of religious sacrifices. All the religions of the world except the Buddhists have a program for killing animals in places of worship. According to Vedic civilization, the animal eaters are recommended to sacrifice a goat in the temple of Kali under certain restrictive rules and regulations and eat the flesh. Similarly, they are recommended to drink wine by worshipping the goddess Chandika. The purpose is restriction. People have given up all this restriction. Now they are regularly opening wine distilleries and slaughterhouses and indulging in drinking alcohol and eating flesh. A Vaishnavacharya like Narada Muni knows very well that persons engaged in such animal killing in the name of religion are certainly becoming involved in the cycle of birth and death, forgetting the real aim of life to go back home, back to Godhead. Interesting that animal eating, killing and eating is there. It says in all the world religions except the Buddhists. But it's interesting that in all the faiths it's there, but everyone has their restrictions or rules around it. There isn't any, just go for it. But what is there in the Christian faith?
Well, in Christianity, they have, you're supposed to give up certain things for what I think is called Lent. Something like that. So there's meant to be, but Prabhupada, he explicitly goes after that point. Your scripture says thou shalt not kill, and you're killing the poor animals.
Yes.
But so there isn't really much restriction in Christianity for sure.
Yeah, that's an interesting one because Prabhupada always stresses that actually it says thou shalt not kill, and then he's been in room conversations as well as other where people have said no, it means murder, and it's meaning not kill like humans, and he says no, but it doesn't say thou shalt not commit murder. And we did a program in London a few years ago. I may have been volunteers doing or something. It was in a church, and I remember the Ten Commandments were there, and I specifically went to look at them, and they changed it to thou shalt not murder. I was like, wow, that's really interesting. Because it isn't that, is it? It's thou shalt kill.
Supposedly it's not. It's kill, yeah.
That's interesting.
So extrapolation for, purpose of sense gratification. But I always appreciate, like Prabhupada says, sacrificing Kali, go to Kali at a certain time, sacrificing wine. So it's not that these things are completely disregarded. It's understood that people will have vices, but there's a spiritual process by which one can, you could say, conquer over them or come to the realization that they're not required. So, but then when you remove that, it's okay, there's nothing there. Oh no, it's breakdown. There's nothing there. So, there's nothing there, that's what I said to you. But to you, our viewers out there, so when you take those things away, then people just are unrestricted and they just go wild, which we see.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got a few more paragraphs. Thus the great sage Narada, while instructing Srimad Bhagavatam to Vyasa Muni, condemned the karma kanda fruitive activities mentioned in the Vedas. Narada told Vyasa, confirmed, Jugupsitam dharma krite nushashataha swabhava raktasya mahan vyatikramaha yadvak yato dharma itira stito namanyate tasya nivarnam janaha. The people in general are naturally inclined to enjoy, and you have encouraged them in that way in the name of religion. This is verily condemned, and is quite unreasonable. Because they are guided under your instruction, they will accept such activities in the name of religion and will hardly care for prohibitions. So that's an interesting point after what I just said. Then Prabhupada brings up the fact that Narada Muni condemned Vyasadeva, for almost creating it or explaining it in such a way and not giving the path very clearly of pure devotional service. So it's not necessarily that it has to be one or the other, but the path of pure devotional service is the ultimate goal of any of the paths. But Vyasadeva had given the other paths as if they were the only paths. And that was the reason why he encouraged him to write Srimad Bhagavatam, to explain the path of pure devotional service.
Next paragraph. Srila Narada Muni chastised Vyasadeva for compiling so many Vedic supplementary scriptures, which are all intended for guiding the people in general. Narada Muni condemned these scriptures because they do not mention direct devotional service. Under Narada's instructions, direct worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as described in the Srimad Bhagavatam, was set forth by Vyasadeva. Our conclusion is that neither the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, nor his devotee ever sanctions animal killing in the name of religion. Indeed, Krishna incarnated himself as Lord Buddha to put an end to animal killing in the name of religion. Animal sacrifice under the name of religion is conducted by the influence of Tamal Guna, the mode of ignorance, as indicated in the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 18:31-32. Yaya dharma adharmam cha karyam cha karyam eva cha atavat prajanati buddhi sa partha rajasi adharmam iti ya manyate tamasavrita sarvatan viparitam cha buddhi sa cha partha tamasi. Translation: that understanding which cannot distinguish between the religious way of life and the irreligious, between action that should be done and action that should not be done, that imperfect understanding, O son of Pritha, is in a mode of passion. That understanding which considers irreligion to be religion and religion to be irreligion under the spell of illusion and darkness, and strives always in the wrong direction of part, is in the mood of ignorance. I think what stood out for me mainly was how Krishna comes as Lord Buddha, and unfortunately, like wherever you walk around, it's quite common to see a Buddha with a big fat belly. And like I was thinking, but wait, so we worship Ram, Nrsimha, Varaha, Chaitanya as different forms of Krishna, but Buddha gets mocked, like it's not, this is rub the Buddha's belly. Oh, look at that big fat Buddha, cute thing. Put him as a doorstop, put him in a window, whatever. I know that just stood out for me, that actually Krishna comes as Lord Buddha, And just like when I was growing up, having to endure all these like Indian serials and Bollywood movies my parents would ever watch, Narada Muni was always a comical character, always, and he had a funny seeker, sticking up, doing this. I never realized the gravity of this personality and the seriousness, but just what a great devotee and Vaishnava he is, until I read Prabhupada's books, and then I took him seriously, because whenever he came on the screen at these things that we were watching, there would be humor. And his seeker was always in some weird place. I don't know why. He was always projected as almost like a troublemaker, which in one sense he's doing, he's always coming at this time and speeding up the pastimes. But it's interesting that only Prabhupada for me brought him to a level like, whoa, Narada Muni. So in the same way, Lord Buddha, it's like, oh, Buddha, and he's got this big fat belly, and he's so many different, when you walk about, people have him in their window or whatever. It's Krishna, It's Krishna, and it just he isn't like a comical character.
So in these serials, Narada Muni, was it a Sika that he had or a top knot? Was he portrayed as being bald with a Sika?
Yeah. And it would either be like that way or this. It's interesting. I never. It's concerning, I feel, to do that. And then Prabhupada really brought him to life. And then the paintings, the beautiful paintings you see, and you think, oh wow, that's Narada Muni,
Well, what I find often is that in the Bhagavatam, he's portrayed and pictures are drawn of him with having dark, curly locks of hair.
Oh, interesting.
But then he's often described as having blonde hair.
Oh.
But
no, I remember a bald head, but it was supposed to be comical, Anyway, it wasn't nice.
Okay, last paragraph. Those who are involved in the mode of ignorance manufacture religious systems for killing animals. Actually, Dharma is transcendental. As Lord Sri Krishna teaches, we must give up all other systems of religion and simply surrender unto Him. Sarva Dharmam Parijajya. Thus, the Lord and His devotees and representatives teach the transcendental Dharma, which does not allow animal killing at all. At the present moment, it is the great misfortune that in India so many so-called missionary workers are spreading irreligion in the name of religion. They claim an ordinary human being to be God and recommend meat eating for everyone, including so-called sannyasis. Wow. So sometimes Srila Prabhupada, he makes a reference to kind of like something that was happening then, that basically for us now, some 30, 40 years later, is like a historical reference. And it'd be interesting to know sometimes, it'd be nice if there was a footnote that kind of told you, like, yes, at the time of writing this, there was X, Y, and Z that was going on. But Srila Prabhupada, they say that Prabhupada was very expert at not kind of attacking a person, but attacking the philosophy behind the person. Someone would say, oh, this person says this. He'd probably say, well, what is his philosophy? And then he would attack the philosophy, not the person. So in that way, honing in on this point that animal killing by sincere devotees, anyone who's a sadhu, anyone who is really genuinely spiritual, just does not kill animals. There you go. And we just saw a video the other day, and Prabhupada was saying, not even an ant, what to speak of the cow, like that. So, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Anything else? All right, thank you all very much. Let's see, what day is it for you?
Friday.
Friday, wow, okay, so we're at Monday. So we're a little bit ahead of schedule, got caught up, and it's really nice like that. But hope you had a beautiful, everything. Govardhan Puja, Prabhupada. Yesterday we celebrated, or the day before yesterday, Srila Prabhupada's disappearance day, and so like that. Anyway, have a very beautiful, wonderful, nice rest of your Kartik month, and we'll see you next time. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai.